Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy.
Oh, you know what? Let me turn your microphone on. My name
isn't Ruben Jay.
My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann.
And this week's episode is going to be a great one.
How do you know?
Because I am who I am, and I only make great stuff. What?
$1 in the jar.
Exactly. I am Ruben Jay, and I make great things. This is why you should vote for me in the 2020 presidential election.
Wait. Are you doing the thing that our guest talks about later on? Are you doing the thing where you declare who you are and are strong in who you are and declare your goals out loud? Is that what you're doing right now? So that you can achieve your goals?
No.
Well, then I got nothing.
Alrighty then. So make sure to share this episode with your friends. There's a link somewhere that you can just copy and paste and send it to your friends. We really think this is a very important message and podcast to hear. This person that we talked about him behind his back while he was. Well,
we're talking about him now.
This is true. That's true. I don't know why I turned into Barack Obama on that one. That's true.
Who's Barack Obama? Is that his football player brother? You got Brock and Barack. Okay, keep going. I'm going to stop interrupting.
Also, make sure to head over to our Apple Podcast page and leave us a 5-star review.
Sorry.
Where's my Lysol?
Sorry.
Where's my Lysol?
I'm so sorry. I tried to make it quiet. I did. He's looking for his Lysol now. He just got up and walked away.
Where's my Lysol?
Does anybody else ever sneeze? Does anybody else ever sneeze?
This isn't Lysol. This is screen cleaner, but close enough.
It's not going to do anything. Also, I'm not sick. Stop throwing things.
Make sure you clean that up later.
Oh my gosh.
Why is Cardi B on my computer screen right now?
Because we were talking about the new song. Hey guys, you know that new song? WAP?
No. Let's not talk about it.
It's very similar to the word they. I eat rice cakes. I drink Starbucks. I wear blazers. Everybody wears blazers. That's a bad example. Anyway, all of that to say. I'm sorry I sneezed.
Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann.
Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann. I'm dead inside. I'm dying. I'm dead. Let's do it all again.
Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann.
And this week's episode is a really good episode.
It is.
We hope that you enjoy it.
We do.
We hope that you enjoy it so much that you pause for a quick second, copy a link, or share this podcast with a friend.
Are we going to use all of this?
Immediately.
We should use all of this.
Because we believe that your friend will enjoy this podcast.
You sound a little depressed.
And while you are sharing this podcast, head over to our Apple Podcast page and leave us a 5-star review. Tell people how good this podcast is. And if you don't like this podcast, well, still give us a 5-star review.
But keep it to yourself.
Because 5 stars could be 5 good stars or 5 bad stars. So give us 5 stars.
What?
This week's episode is brought to you by our Amazon link. Moxy, tell us about our Amazon link.
Our Amazon partnership is a sacred one, and one that we deeply appreciate. If you click the link down in the description below.
Does this link like feed children or something? Because that's where I feel like this is going.
No,
if
it
you
feeds
click
us.
the link down below, children in Africa will eat for 3 years.
What?
I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't know either.
We've lost control of the podcast.
Who has lost control of the podcast?
We.
I am in complete control. I don't know about you.
I completely control everything. All right. Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann.
There we go.
Woo!
Woo! All right.
Woo!
Something good. Go.
Okay. So this week,
We've literally just wasted 8 minutes doing that.
this is amazing though. Can we use all 8 minutes?
Not all of it, but
Seriously,
most of it.
we should use all of it because this is funny.
Part of it, but not all of it.
I think it's funny.
Not all of it.
I think it's funny.
Portions of it were kind of not funny.
I think the part where I sneezed was funny.
That's the part that I hate the most.
Why? I didn't sneeze.
Coronavirus!
What?
Coronavirus!
Corollas?
Something good. Go.
Okay, so last week there was a Swiss town that had chocolate snow. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, your mom posted about it.
I know. She posted it and she was like, "It's literally my dream." And I was
Except
like,
the snow part.
"Yeah, except it's your nightmare because you hate the cold." But anyway, there was an error at a Lindt factory. You all know the gourmet chocolate, the Lindor truffles, the Lindt truffles
The ones that you can get for like $19
at a Barnes and Noble that are always somehow squished because children go through the line before you do. Yeah.
Just go buy them at Target.
So basically there's a small town called Olten between Zurich and Basel.
I don't think you're pronouncing any of these words right.
I know Zurich is correct.
Zurich.
No.
And Basel.
Anyway, it's in Switzerland, and there was a malfunction at the Lindt and Sprungli factory. That's probably wrong. But the chocolate manufacturer confirmed it had a minor defect in the cooling ventilation for a line of roasted cocoa nibs. That's crushed cocoa beans that are made into chocolate. And then
I love me some cocoa nibs.
Me too. Strong gusts of wind then picked up the chocolate powder and left a dusting of cocoa over the entire area surrounding the factory.
Nice.
And pretty much it was chocolate snow. And somebody tweeted
chocolate snow.
Tweeted at RORIPN, said it finally happened, guys. 2020 screwed up just enough that it finally did something right.
Speaking of 2020 screwing up.
Yikes.
Did you see that there's a possibility that 2 hurricanes are going to hit the Gulf of Mexico at the exact same time?
I did see that. Yeah.
Jesus.
I did see that. I can't even believe that.
I think I saw that this has never happened before. And I'm like, of course it would happen in 2020. Like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say this, something good happened to me last week. And it just started raining money into my bank account. So
it did. It was very strange.
It was really strange.
He's making a lot of impulse buys now.
That's not
healthy.
That's not true. Name one impulse buy. Boy. Name one impulse buy.
Lots of things.
Like?
I can't think of anything
Exactly,
right now.
because none of them were impulse buys. All of them were well thought out.
What about the time you went to Best Buy to get an entirely new computer and then bailed at the last second?
That's not how that happened.
How did it happen?
They were out of stock at the Best Buy, so I went onto my computer and and I went and I built my dream computer, and it was gonna be like $4,000.
Yikes.
And I decided, there's probably better things to do with this $4,000. So I decided not to buy it. Instead, I spent $2,000 on an iPad.
Nice.
Which is what no, but here's the thing though. I've been wanting this particular brand of this particular model over a year now. So I've thought it out and I purchased it. What other impulse buy do you want to try to throw my way?
I think you have some personal issues you need to deal with.
I don't know why I just did that right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
No, I have no personal issues I need to deal with whatsoever. I bought lights for the studio.
Mm-hmm. They're really pretty.
Yeah, I'm returning them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like. I don't like how unfocused they are, and they're a little too advanced for what I need them to do. So I have a plan B. I don't know why we're talking about this on the air.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
What other impulse buy did I make?
I'm not here to attack your life decisions, unlike some people.
I'm not attacking anybody's life decisions. I'm just curious as to what you think is an impulse buy. The Alter Bridge merch, well thought out.
Maybe impulse buy is the wrong word. I think maybe we're looking for...
Are you literally Googling words for like alternative... Like, are you thesaurusing words right now?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Freaking homeschooler.
I think the word that we're looking for is irresponsible purchasing.
First of all, it's not a word. That's a phrase. Second of all, I don't think anything I purchased was irresponsible.
All right.
I think all my purchases were very responsible.
Okay.
And very well thought out.
Okay.
And planned.
Okay.
However, I did walk into Sam Ash today and walk to the guitar section and pick up a $3,000 Taylor and think to myself, I could afford this.
Yeah, see, maybe that's where the issue lies.
But I didn't buy it. I put it back on the wall.
Okay.
And then the guy came in and said, I'll give it to you half off. I looked at him and I said, and I was like, no. This week's episode, a little bit scattered. We're having a little bit of fun here, but I do want to get to our guest, who was an incredible interview. And, I think it was such a good interview that we decided not to bank it for the future and decided to release it immediately.
Yeah. So
this is literally the newest episode that we have recorded, and we were so inspired by it that we wanted to get it out to you directly. So I don't really know what else to say at this point other than to throw to commercial.
Yeah.
And let this person speak for himself, because he pretty much talked the entire time.
Let's just dive into it.
Let's do it. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, what we want you to do during the commercial break, by the way, is share this podcast onto your social media platforms. But we want, when we come back, we're going to have this gentleman. Do you want to say who it is, or do you want to wait till after the commercial?
No, I think maybe the title gave it away.
Oh, yeah. The title is...
Yeah. That.
Lady.
I'm Joe Biden's husband.
And this lady, first lady. By
the way, our guest isn't a lady. So
that's the funny part. All right, guys, we're going to be right back. All right, Moxy, it's that time of the episode where we bring on one of our friends. This is one of your friends onto the show. So tell us about this guy.
So I am super stoked to have this person on the podcast. He is the bass player of a world-renowned, incredible band. He's also a yoga. What's the word?
Instructor?
Yeah, no, not an instructor.
Enthusiast?
Yeah, and he's written.
Wait, hold on. Let's pause for a second. Did you just look to me for a word? That's never happened before in the history of our podcast.
It's fine. Yeah. But he's also written a book, a self-empowerment book that is pretty incredible, and I'm very, very excited to be introducing Woody Woodrow from the band Our Last Night onto the show tonight. Welcome.
Woody, welcome.
What is up? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Dude, let me just tell you this real quick. I have been following your band's YouTube channel for years now. And I actually got really close to booking an interview with you guys about 3 years ago. I think you guys played the Glass House out here in Pomona. And I had worked out some details, and then the last minute it had to get scrapped. So when Moxy's like, "Hey, have you heard of this band called Our Last Night?" I'm like, yeah. And she's like, "Would you be interested in interviewing any of them?" I'm like, yeah. So welcome. I'm super excited to have you, friend.
I'm super excited to be here. That's funny. The world has mysterious ways of working, and I love when there's divine synchronicities all over the place. It's a nice reminder of how epic everything is, right?
Honestly, though, yeah,
it's insane sometimes how like things. Sometimes you don't even realize how connected you are with people. Again, that's a whole, was it 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or 7 degrees of separation or 22 degrees of eating pie?
100 degrees
So I just want to start real quick. And you know, one of the things that we're focusing on this season is mental health and kind of, you know, self-improvement and betterment, and like focusing on people just kind of taking this newly found time and making the best of it. So I want to jump straight into this book. And I actually don't have the name of it in front of me because Moxy didn't tell me anything about it. So so if you can tell me a little bit about your book and what it's called and where people can buy it, that'd be great.
For sure. So the title is You Are the Rock Star. Step into your power, live your purpose. And that kind of came from people reflecting back to me when I was on tour and when I was just living life, that I was a legitimate rock star. These were a lot of my friends and family members that would tell me, you know, "Oh my gosh, you're a legitimate rock star." And I had the hardest time accepting that title in my own life because I just, you know, I would naturally want to deflect that and be like, nah, you know, I don't know. I'm just doing what I'm passionate about. You're the rock star. And I would say that because I would want to reflect something positive towards other people who are overcoming challenges and obstacles in their life to become, you know, more of themselves, if you will, which to me is like stepping into your power, becoming the rock star of your life. So that was where the inspiration of the title came from. The content within the book came from the last 5 years of instructing yoga, meditation, and mindfulness classes all over the world before my shows, which was super fun. Loved doing those. It was a lot of me trial and error with different topics, different meditative techniques, yoga flows, all these things, and getting feedback from young adults who would attend these meetups. And it was awesome. We would cover goal setting, law of attraction, mindfulness, you know, how to overcome anxiety, deal with depression, all these things. And they gave me amazing, I guess, an amazing opportunity to reflect on the content that I wanted to then put into a book. So that's what I did. I thought, you know what, this stuff needs to be somewhere that people have access to, even if I'm not present. If I'm in this body, if I'm, you know, in this moment in a conversation, I want something that can contribute on my behalf, even if I'm not physically there. And so that was the inspiration behind the book. And where people can get it is on Amazon. I narrated the podcast as well, and that's on Audible, which is also on Amazon, and the Kindle paperback, all those things. Head over to Amazon and grab a copy. So that's where it's at. That's where the title came from, and that's where a lot of the content came from specifically. It was also covering a very wide range of topics from my own personal life. It's really a self-help guide with a rock and roll vibe to it because I'm super into the self-help world and I love yoga. It changed my life. Meditating is been a total game changer. And I just wanted to share the tools that help me overcome not feeling like I was good enough, stress, anxiety, and all that shit that we all deal with while trying to figure out this whole life thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And if Ruben had let me ask the question, I would have framed it very differently because I actually listened to the version on Audible that you read. It's so cool. It's so great.
Thanks.
Congratulations, by the way, because I know that undertaking a book reading is no small thing. So one of the things that I noticed in the book, you talked a lot in the beginning about like how when you were starting out, you kind of felt unprepared or unqualified, or, you know, like you had to kind of step into that role. I was curious because writing a book, that is not a small thing. Like that's a huge undertaking. So what got you to the point where you felt prepared, and like you felt able to attack that huge idea of writing a book?
It's a great question. I don't know if I ever got over that. Even up until I released it, I was still going through the normal self-doubt we all experience and wondering, is this good enough? Should I go back? Should I actually release this? Who am I to write a book about living your dreams or your own mental health? And a lot of the self-sabotaging thoughts and the comparative mindsets that I would have, comparing myself to other people, to other authors, other people in the yoga world, other musicians, I almost let it hold me back to the point where I didn't want to release it. Luckily, I knew that these were all growth opportunities to reframe this obstacle in my way of thinking that I'm not good enough, and realizing that, from wherever we are, we're going to create from what is reflective of us in this moment. Now, that doesn't mean we're always going to be right here on our path of growth. Meaning when we put a stake in the ground, like anything, when you release a book, when you create a podcast, when you do anything, have a conversation, that's a representation of you in that moment. And me realizing that allowed me to step out of my own way so that I could create from a moment, knowing that some of the stuff I shared, I could be wrong. And it's okay. I could be wrong, but I wanted to share it because it's been super profound and deep for me as a human being in my transformation, that I wanted to share that. And I wanted to be a representation of where I was so that I can look back and say, yeah, I did that. That's where I was. And now this is where I am. And I think we can learn a lot when we look back on different times in our lives and say, you know what, that's where I was, but it's not who I am now. And a lot of times we take too much ownership on where we were and we think that that defines us. And I started to let that dictate how I was acting. And I felt myself in this weird dialogue between almost where I was and where I wanted to be, or where I was in the comparative side of almost the monster in our head that just makes us think we're not good enough because other people are doing more epic shit all the time, excuse my language. But like, it's as if we're comparing someone on social media or another rocker or another author or another podcaster to where we are right now, forgetting that where we are is right where we need to be. And when we create from our heart and share from our heart and share from something that we love to do, people feel that. And that's really what it's about, is the connection and our ability to impact other people. And the more that we step into our own power, releasing this idea that we're not good enough to do anything, then people are naturally going to be attracted to us because we're coming from a place of, I'm going to jump and I'm going to figure it out on the way down. And there's something naturally magnetic about that for a lot of people, to where they want to be around others who are super confident and okay with being them in the moment. And I had a lot of growth around this concept while writing the book, as well as creating music, as well as just being a human in general. And so that's something that I think, if you're writing, if you're creating music, if you're speaking, if you're literally living, getting out of your own way to realize that where you are is okay. And whatever you create from there is awesome, because where you go, you'll be able to look back and be like, that was cool because that's where I was. And you might not be there. It might change, but it's all okay, if that makes sense.
The book is called You Are the Rockstar. Step into your power and live your purpose. And if you happen to be watching the podcast version of this, or the video version of this, sorry. If you're watching the audio podcast version of this, I'm really scared now at this point, but you'll see the cover and the Amazon page in case you are looking for it. And of course, you can always click the link in the description down below and support Woody and us as well, because it's our affiliate link and that's how we make money too. So we sell a book, we get paid, and he gets paid, and everybody gets paid, and everybody's happy. Speaking of getting paid, Moxy, I think it's time for signature question numero uno.
How is that a transition?
Because it went from one segment to another. That's called a transition. I'm a professional.
I can tell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for boosting his ego. It makes my life So, Woody, this is not a seamless transition at all, but one of the things that we...
You know what makes it not a seamless transition? When you point out that it's not a seamless transition. If you would have just gone with it, it would have been seamless.
I think, we just need to be real with people. I think we need to be real.
The people are rioting.
You're rioting.
I think we call what you're referring to a telegraph, meaning you're telegraphing it. This is a basketball term I learned in high school. If you look to where you're passing the ball, then everyone knows it's going there. Whereas if you just passed it, no one would even know.
That's true.
He's on my side. I love it.
I'm just being a reflection, yo. I'm just being a reflection.
You're good. You're good. You're good. All right. So the tagline for this podcast is life, friendship, and tacos. And in that vein, we have created this podcast around these 3 signature questions, some easier than others, some more divisive than others. But the first signature question is probably the easiest. In all of the places that you've been, all of the places you've traveled, all of the places you've eaten, what has been your favorite taco?
Whoa.
I know, it's hard.
Whoa. Okay, so back in the day, I've gone through a transition of eating styles, because I think that happens naturally when you try stuff in your life. You see what works, you see what doesn't. So before I went more of a plant-based lifestyle, and still even after having been, a plant-based eater for, the last 6-7 years, I was always obsessed with this place in Texas. It's called Torchy's Tacos. And my band can attest that whenever we are in Texas, Torchy's is the spot we go to, usually for lunch and dinner. We'll get delivery usually after the show.
Wow.
And this one taco that's always been my favorite is the fried avocado taco.
Oh, interesting.
So that one was always one of my top favorites. And in thinking about it in this moment, what I taste, thinking about my favorite taco, I taste that. So that's got to be my answer right there. I know I've had some really good tacos all over the place, including some homemade tacos by some friends of mine who are vegan chefs. But Torchy's it's got its own vibe, and anyone from Texas, I think, can resonate. It's got this feeling, and this taste. It's dope.
It's interesting. We've gotten I think we've gotten a couple of people who have referenced different taco places in Texas. Apparently Texas is a hub for tacos.
You didn't know that?
For sure.
What part of Texas is this place in?
All over. It's honestly all over. The ones that we mostly frequent are either in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, also Houston. They're all over.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
We got to find this. I just booked us a flight to Texas, FYI.
Amazing. Well, flights are super cheap right now, so it shouldn't be too much,
Honestly, though.
I got you a ticket too. We'll meet you there.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, Moxy left her credit card out one night, and I took all the information off of it.
Oh, good.
And, that's how we're booking all this. That's how we pay for the rent here. She doesn't know that, but I love your vibe, man. I love the concept of the book and the concept of kind of what you've done. One of my favorite guitar players does like pre-show guitar lessons and writing lessons this last tour he was on. And I've always found that concept interesting. And now hearing that you were doing these, like self-improvement yoga classes type thing, it's a really interesting concept to hear. In your journey of doing these classes, have you gotten any feedback from people that has like inspired you to continue to do them, or any moments that stand out that you're just like, this is why I desire to continue to do these classes?
Dude, honestly, all the time, which is why I've done them. And even if like my theory is kind of even if I can impact one person in the world to step into their power, and by that I just mean look at those challenges in their life as opportunities rather than things that like are defining of them and obstacles, then that's a win. Excuse me. Then that's a win for me. And I guess like the most recent experience for that, I was doing our Patreon calls. We have like a membership site called Patreon, and the highest tier gets FaceTime calls from us every once in a while. So I was going through the other day, this was this week, and I was calling a few different people, just saying thank you, telling them what we're up to, just dropping in. And one of the girls that I called, she was just getting out of the gym, and she mentioned to me, oh, by the way, I just lost 40 pounds in the last few weeks. And I was like, damn girl, get it. That's what's up. And she said, it's because I read your book. And so for me personally, that's so worth, the months. It took me 2 years to write that book. It's so worth that, whether I have to go out of my way, whether I have to spend money out of my own pocket. it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than everything when we start to impact other people through our own personal experiences. Because that, in a way, it's almost like that butterfly effect, to where you sharing your truth, you sharing what's made you who you are, how you've overcome the things that you've had to overcome, you empower other people to do the same. So while my story wasn't different, I mean, it wasn't like so completely different that, it couldn't be relatable. I was able to frame it in a way that people related to. And then this girl, she took it and allowed it to motivate her to go after it. And she had lost 40 pounds. And that to me was super, super inspiring. And that's just that's just the most recent example. I'm really blessed, and it's really humbling all the time to hear reflections from people, whether they have started meditating because of a conversation we had, started yoga because of doing it with me before a show, or even just, a tweet that I might've shared, or a Facebook live stream or an Instagram live stream. I do get a lot of people reflecting back to me that, hey, you're the one that started talking about this first to me. And that, expanded my consciousness to then try something new. And I think that's super important, because, a lot of times we don't know where to look. We don't know what to do. And it's not our fault. It's just that we haven't run into the things or the opportunities or the conversations that have allowed our mind to open to a better way. And when we stay like in our own power, willing to share these things that are helping us, we not only increase our ability to communicate, we increase the awareness of what is communicated, so that other people can then step into their power and try stuff out. Like, not everyone's going to try the same thing. Like, not everyone's going to do yoga and it's going to be the most mind-blowing experience for them. But I encourage everyone to find their own yoga, because to me, it was really finding flow state. And we can experience that through bike riding, through walking, through doing other physical activities and linking them to the breath and finding this flow state. It's realistically just about finding what is that you're passionate about, so that, it can take your life to the next level, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so like when that becomes kind of your essence and who you are, then you find yourself in these situations that you have to pinch yourself sometimes, because you get these reflections back to you. And this just happens. It's happened a lot to me. And it's almost weird, because I don't know what to say sometimes, because all I'm doing is sharing what I'm passionate about. And with the hope that other people will take it and run. Even if only a couple people were to do that, it would be a success for me. And I've had, hundreds and if not thousands of people that have come up to me. Literally, it's like every show at this point that we play, social media, all sorts of stuff. And, every day it's a nice gratitude reminder. Because you don't do it for you. You can't. Like, when you really want something that bad, you're going to run into obstacles that'll get in your way if it's about you. And if it's just about you, it's going to be too hard, and it's not going to happen. But if you make it not about you, you can overcome so much stuff. It's mind blowing. When you turn your why into something greater than yourself, it becomes so, so powerful.
Yeah, that's an awesome message too. Because I feel like a lot of times when people do things for themselves, like it becomes increasingly harder for it to succeed sometimes. Before we jump into anything further, we do have signature question numero dos.
This one is the tougher one. So if you need to take a second to answer this one, that is okay. We often have a lot of people who are stumped initially. So
okay, cool.
All right, challenge accepted.
I don't think he's going to be stumped though. I think he's going to be fine.
I think he's got this one. I think so. All right, signature question number 2. If you had a life quote, it could be a verse, a lyric, a mantra, a saying, anything. If you had a life quote, what would it be?
That would honestly change day to day for me. But right now in this moment, practice how you want to live.
No,
that
for
me has been the most powerful thing that I've heard in my entire life. When I started practicing how I want to live, my whole life changed. I guess to elaborate on that a little bit, I started practicing yoga in 2010 because I was, down to try this predominantly feminine practiced sweating aerobic thing that my mom was like, hey, come join this hot yoga class, and I was like, oh, okay, let's just try it. But what not a lot of people know is that, for the last 5-6 years before that, I had struggled with a stress fracture in my low back. to the point where I couldn't really get out of bed in the morning a lot. And it made it really difficult playing high school sports. I still played them, but it was really difficult because, the stop and goes were rough on my back unless I stayed warm constantly. So it was baseball or basketball, these stop and go sports sometimes put a real ton of pressure on my low back. So after high school, I saw a lot of doctors. I ended up seeing 4 doctors, and they didn't really know what was wrong with me. And by the 4th doctor, they finally took x-rays. I don't know why it took them that long, but they took x-rays and then found out that I had a stress fracture in my lower lumbar spine. So they told me, we can't fix this. You have to go to physical therapy for the rest of your life.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
And I was like, that sounds kind of awful. I mean, in one way, I was grateful to know what it was, because uncertainty can be so rough. But it was also super, super rough in its own, in the idea of having to do something for the rest of my life in order to not feel pain. And I hadn't framed it yet as a learning experience. So I kind of beat myself up there and thought, well, okay, this is good. This kind of sucks. Let's just do this physical therapy. So I did the physical therapy, a lot of core exercises, a lot of stretching, did it a couple times a week. Pain subsided, wasn't too bad. But they told me I needed to keep doing this or else it's going to come back. And of course, like life happens. So I stopped them. And throughout college, it would come intermittently. Sometimes it would be shooting pain in the low back. Sometimes it would be aching pain. Sometimes it'd be hard to get out of bed, go to class, all these things. And then I graduated from college in 2010 from the University of New Hampshire. And that was when my mom was like, yo, come to this hot yoga class with me. And,
just like that.
Why not? Right. Like I go to the gym a lot. At the time, I've never been a stocky human, but I just thought, well, hey, I like physical fitness. Let's just try this out and see. It's probably, I was, I guess, thinking it was going to be like jazzercise or Pilates or something. And it was so much more than that. I ended up sweating more than I have sweat doing anything. And I kid you not, from that day on, that pain has never returned.
Wow.
So what's really interesting about that, and I actually wrote this in a chapter that I took out of the book because it didn't really fit, but it was a deleted chapter. And so I wrote it about, how we choose to look at the path we're in a way given. So we have choices that we get to make, and whether the world's happening for you or to you is your choice. So we get to look at it that way. And our pain, if we listen to it, can be a great teacher. So I didn't know that at the time because when we're stuck in pain or feeling sick, it's really hard to see that. We're just trying to find something that will help. But I really believe strongly that the universe, spirit, God, whatever you believe in, as a higher force, was guiding me towards finding this practice by creating this pain in my life. And I found it, and it was as if I hit that key to where all of a sudden, oh, boom, cool. I've been guiding you. You're finally here. Welcome. And I became really obsessed with yoga. I became, I was going 5, 6, 7 times a week. I was doing double classes. Sometimes I would do 2.5-hour sessions of yoga that was like 105 degrees and sweat. It was like I was in it. Let's just say that I was like I went all in. And the style of yoga that I was getting into was this very stiff kind of yoga that was very pose oriented, and everyone has their own style that feels good for them, which I encourage everyone to explore and see what works, whether it's the style or the teachers or the guides. Find out which one works for you. I was practicing this one that was much more pose oriented than it was movement oriented. And I got ripped. It was awesome. I had so much energy. It felt amazing, right? It was super good. But what I started noticing was that I started falling into this weird pitfall to where if I didn't do my 1.5-hour practice every day, I would be angry and frustrated. And so that to me wasn't my goal. It wasn't why I practiced yoga. It was obviously I didn't want to feel pain, but I also didn't want to be pissed off if I didn't do my practice. So I started realizing this, and another pain point that happened to me, I was practicing this very stiff and rigid style of yoga that's very militaristic. And one of the things that you do is you do this pose that you bring your forehead to your knee with your leg extended while you're standing on your other leg. And I was doing this, and I felt a shooting pain underneath my thigh. Ooh. And it didn't subside. It didn't go away for a couple of weeks. And I talked to one of the teachers after a class, and I said, hey, you know, like I have this really weird shooting pain underneath my hamstring, like where my glute connects to my hamstring. And she really casually just looked at me and said, oh yeah, that's right where your hamstring connects to your glute. Yeah, you're probably about to tear your hamstring. So you should probably just take it easy for a little bit and then maybe give it a break. And I remember thinking, I don't practice yoga to get more hurt. You know, I practice yoga to be healthy and to feel less pain. And I'll never forget this day too, which is really funny. So I told this woman, who's a saint, she's a sweetheart, she was the owner of the studio. I told her, okay, cool, I'll see you again soon. And I walked out that day and I applied to be a Siva at another studio that was more of a vinyasa flow, which just means you're moving more with your breath rather than static poses. Mm-hmm. And a Siva is someone who just, you know, it would be like a work exchange. So I would work the front desk in order for free yoga, which, you know, being a college kid and whatnot was, you know, or like being a post-college kid was very necessary. And then I got accepted, and I didn't go to another one of those classes until recently. I actually went to one to try it again. And that was a span of about 8 years. Wow. Oh. Which was fine. But the reason I'm sharing this is because I realized that this practice, this, you know, very pose oriented practice, it was not reflective in how I want to live, meaning I didn't like to being stressed out because I didn't get my practice in. I wasn't trying to be stiff and rigid in my life. And I was trying to feel good and, you know, go with not just like passive aggressively going with the flow, but just, you know, to flow with what comes. And so I started finding vinyasa yoga, and it was this power style yoga that was really vigorous, you know, still keeps you in great shape, sweat a ton, feel good. And this was ironically really the first class I ever went to with my mom. I had ventured off and tried this other style after I discovered it for the first time. But so I came back to it and just was all in on it, to the point where one day I was laying there in the final resting pose. And sometimes you have these aha moments. And I thought, you know, am I supposed to instruct this? And then this voice just kind of came to me, almost like it was almost an intuition that just said, yeah, you're supposed to instruct this. And then I thought to myself, holy shit, I'm supposed to instruct this. Wow. That meant I was about to go on a journey of taking a full-on intensive training. And since then, I've done 200-hour intensive trainings in 2 different styles of yoga to get that credential to share, you know, that platform to share from, which is cool. But when I found this other style that is a vinyasa style, but it's not the one I found the first time. It's a style called Strala Yoga that I write about in the book. And the woman who actually wrote the foreword to my book, Tara Stiles, is the founder of this kind of yoga called Strala. And in Swedish, it means to radiate light. And the way I look at that is that it comes from the inside out. And their whole style of yoga is about moving how it feels good for you and your body. There's not as much emphasis on you being picture perfect as you being completely perfectly aligned. It's more about you realizing your own personal alignment, and that your position, your movement might look different because your body's different, and that's okay. So when I started practicing with these mentalities, which realistically are East Asian martial arts mentalities of movement, right? We're using the breath, moving like using Tai Chi and Qigong style movement forms with yoga poses and kind of fusing it all together, almost as like it was a dance. And the classes are electric. They're super bomb. Playlists are always dope. Everyone's just moving, having a good time. You just feel euphoric afterwards. And when I started discovering that kind of yoga, my entire life changed, because I started practicing how I wanted to actually live. And that was this massively creative flow state that I was able to, when I found obstacles that seemed like challenging things, I was able to flow with them and move and do it really gracefully. And that's really the amazing opportunity yoga provides, is this mirror into your life, where your yoga mat, if you have one or not, doesn't matter, but how you practice is reflected in how you live.
Yeah.
And so it in that way, it provides a great opportunity. And again, remember, I kind of frame yoga in regards to anything you're passionate about. I encourage everyone to think about how they practice one thing, because how you practice one thing is how you do everything. And when you practice one thing, how you want to live, it then trickles into every area of your life. So then your practice of yoga that you're practicing, meeting this like, rather challenging sequence by connecting to your breath and flowing and realizing it's all good, you're going to be just fine. And it's okay to take child's pose or to just lie on your back. It's still yoga. The more that you step into this realization that it's okay, right where you are, kind of to go back to what we were saying, it's okay. And the more that you practice being the way that you want to be, the more then it starts to permeate in different areas of your life. And you feel damn good in the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. You're making me want to try yoga. Like,
Wow.
Believe it or not, I'm listening to this and I'm just like, I can get ripped doing yoga? What?
Sure, yeah, for sure.
And then you also mentioned some girl lost 40 pounds doing yoga. Like, okay. No. She lost 40 pounds reading your book. That's what it was.
Yeah. My book is very vigorous. If you read it, you start losing weight. So
It's really, really heavy. That everything that you're saying, the finding that vinyasa flow yoga, it sounds a lot like Bruce Lee's quote of "Be like water." Have you heard that quote?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Well,
Who hasn't?
Okay, thanks.
Maybe if they've been under a waterfall, they haven't heard that. So your band, Our Last Night, they have a new single out. It's called Ignorance is Bliss. So it's cool to see bands still releasing music and still releasing content. Tell me a little bit about the single, and then also tell me what you've been working on as a band or yourself through these, I don't like calling them quarantines, but during this time of self-reflection is what I'm going to call it.
Mm-hmm. We were planning on touring in Europe in the fall.
Oh.
And, so that's not happening. We just kind of postponed that inevitably because we don't know. We just have to wait. There's so much uncertainty right now, of course.
Yeah.
So we just figured we're going to do what we do best and keep creating music. I don't know if a lot of people know, but last year we released two EPs and then combined them together into a full-length album, all while releasing covers on our YouTube channel. So we dropped a lot of content last year, which was really awesome. So we're just keeping that energy flowing. And we released this single, Ignorance is Bliss, to share awareness and to, just cause others to question their reality and question things in life, because that's really what it's about, is being willing to question things and not take what's, spoon-fed as the truth, and being willing to ask these questions and being willing to dig deeper. And specifically for us, it was a lot about human trafficking and like sex trafficking specifically. So actually yesterday we released a partnership with Operation Underground Rescue, and they're a really epic organization that goes in and rescues people who are stuck in this really dark, awful world. And they've rescued a ton of people, and they're a really phenomenal organization. So we partnered with them and we did a collaboration t-shirt. So our artwork is this really cool picture that's a really well done drawing of a woman with a blindfold on. And so we put that on the shirt, and all the proceeds, 100% of them, go to Operation Underground Railroad so that we can, make a dent in that, $125 billion industry, which to me is just like absolutely not acceptable, especially when we find out that the United States is one of the most human, this sounds really messed up to say, but it's one of the most, if not the most, consuming of human trafficking, if that makes sense. I don't know if that like actually makes sense or not to say, but like we essentially have the highest demand for human trafficking in the world. And like, we're talking like, we think of ourselves as like the most, advanced culture all the time and all this stuff. Like, are we really that advanced if this is going on right underneath our noses? I don't personally know, but with the lifting and the shifting of the vibrations right now, the earth is up leveling. So all this stuff in the past that's existed, and this is a lot of my friends in the spiritual community, this is what we've been talking about, is how the stuff that's been in the shadows is now coming to light, because this up leveling of that, of a vibration of the earth, which is not even a fictitious thing. If you look up something called the Schumann resonance, it's actually the vibrational frequency of the earth. And it's been rising for the last so many years. So as it's been lifting, you think about that in regards to our consciousness, we're expanding our mind. And now the things that have been going on kind of under the radar are no longer going to be able to exist. And this is something we're very passionate about, and something that we, are going to continue to spread awareness and to share money towards. And we're donating like we're going to match the first 5K that we raise. And in a day we were able to sell, I think we sold like 200 or 300 shirts in a day yesterday, which was really cool. And yeah, we're just really grateful. So we shot the video for that yesterday too, which is themed around the same thing, and really excited to have that out super, super soon for everyone.
Yeah,
that's a really cool thing that you guys are doing there. And if you're watching the video, if the video portion of this happens to be published, you can see on the screen that we have the t-shirt up on the screen, so you can look at it and go and purchase that. That's an awesome cause to get behind, and I think everyone has their eyes have awoken to the the human trafficking and the sex trafficking and all that craziness has been happening for years and years and years. Yeah. And I think a lot of people now are just like, how has this been happening? I think a lot of people's eyes are being opened. So thanks for doing that too. That's a huge step in the right direction, I think.
And I saw that you guys had to film with blindfolds on. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we like to do everything ourselves, and we're very hands-on. So when we film videos, we're doing it. It's just pretty much us four, our day-to-day manager, Rich, and then we'll hire a DP. So like a producer, and then we'll hire maybe one other extra hand. And it was legitimately us in this epic studio yesterday, the four of us with our day-to-day, and then somebody that we hired for photos and somebody for video. And we were just, we went in there with a vision, not exactly sure how it was going to go. And then we just did a shot sequence out, and we got some really, really epic content with similar to the artwork, with this really awesome red background, this red lighting, because when you think about an alleyway, you think about, let's say maybe it's like the red light district or something, but you think about red and you think about kind of alleyway, and it kind of goes with the feeling that we're trying to portray and this awareness we're trying to spread. So then what we did was we compared that with some other shots in different lighting, so we can, kind of bounce back and forth. But some of my favorite shots are all of us playing. They're kind of single shots of each of us, but we did the full take with the blindfold on, so we can cut to different angles. And we did some really cool camera stuff there that's going to look awesome. So there's some shots of us playing without them and then with them, and we're going to kind of cut back and forth. So super excited to share that with everyone. The big test, which was hilarious, was my drummer, Tim. So he was the first one to do it, right? And we were like, here's the true test right now, bro. Because he's an unbelievable drummer. He is so good at drumming. And deep down, he's just going to unconsciously nail it. But we blindfold him, and he plays the entire song perfectly. And he doesn't lay back. He hits hard, and he just legitimately slayed it. We were joking, wondering if he was going to have any where he hits the drumstick on his thigh or he hits himself in the face. Every once in a while we play live, and he really gets a shiner from himself, if you will, because he really gets into it. So we were a little worried there, but he passed. And so that was cool.
That's a sign of a good drummer.
He's unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
All right, so
is so awesome.
We're running out of time here, so we got to jump into signature question numero tres. Moxy, take it away.
All right. So this may be the hardest one, depending on what you believe.
It's probably at least the most important one of all the questions, for sure.
Okay. So, Woody.
Yes.
Can you have more than one best friend?
Outside of your significant other and family?
For sure.
Oh, gosh.
Yes!
For sure. Okay, but I understand how somebody could have a differing opinion of this. I totally understand that. Because what we're talking about the amount of energy you can give to have a depth and a deep relationship with someone. And obviously you have your significant other. That's going to be a very sacred relationship. Totally understand that. I personally have multiple best friends in my life. And in a weird, this might sound selfish and egotistical. I don't necessarily think so, because I do a lot of work to make sure that doesn't get out of hand. But I really think personally, I take my relationship with myself very seriously, because that's the only real one that I have when I leave this earth. So I make sure that I'm good, because if I'm not good, then usually that, radiates out to other relationships. So that's kind of like my first best friend is usually the relationship with me, making sure I got to take care of me, because if I don't do that, I can't really take care of other people. Mm-hmm. And then number two is my family and significant other, if I have a significant other in my life at the time. And then I have my direct friendships that are like family to me. And these are the kind of people that I look at as best friends, where they're not going to look back and be like, hey, bro, why didn't you message me? It's been a week. Or, you haven't FaceTimed me in 2 weeks. Like, what's going on? It's not that. For me, the people that I surround myself with who are best friends are people I can call. They'd be there for me. They don't care if I haven't reached out or anything. We're just there on a level that's almost greater than any type of petty thing, if that makes sense. It's like we're on an existence where it's like a soul recognition level. And I know that's a little bit more, I think, maybe of a progressive mindset towards a best friend, but I just have a lot of friends in my life that are legitimately family, to where I've been in a band with my best friend since I was 16 years old. So we've been a band for 16 years, which is pretty wild. So, and I grew up with these guys. So I met Trev, my lead singer, when he was in diapers. I met Matt, who's his brother, who's been my best friend since I was 8, when he was setting up his mailbox down the road for me when he just moved to town. So like, that's like family status for me, like family best friend. And then I have my real family, which are like the friends I didn't get to choose. But then I also have my soul family, which are mainly most of them are in California and Costa Rica right now. And they're the people that, have my back and I could hit up and they'd be there, just like those other friends and family. They're just these people that you feel when you're with them, that you either have, you've known them forever. It's like those things that you can't believe you only known them for a couple of years, because you feel like you've known them for lifetimes. Mm-hmm. And that to me is best friends. But even within those best friends, right, you still have your best friends. And those are the ones that you stay in touch with more often. And so there's kind of different levels of that, if it makes sense. And I know I might be like going super analytical into it when it doesn't need to be as analytical, but I have a lot of friends in my life, and I have a select few people within those groups that I could reach out to, and they would be there for me if I needed them in a pinch, or, to just call them one day and be like, hey, I kind of forget how awesome I am. Can you remind me? And then they remind me.
That's literally every time I call Moxy, I'm like, hey, I just forgot how awesome I am. Can you remind me? And then she hangs up on me.
So good.
Analytical is great. That is what the podcast is about. Thank you for seeing the truth. Thank you.
Ruben, what are your thoughts on this, bro? So, if you're saying, are you going more traditional?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's so much a question on how much energy you have to devote to people. I'm much more of like, what is the definition of the word best?
He's very legalistic.
Okay.
Yeah. So it comes down to like, if I write in a contract that something is the best in the world, my best friend, or this is the best coffee, while it's subjective, the term best is, there's only one spot for that. So that's where I come from. Mm-hmm. I also currently unofficially don't have a best friend. So
what happened?
No, I just don't, because
I thought you did.
That's because you're your best friend, bro.
I don't even like me sometimes. So
well, that's you get to work on.
I'm going to order his book, because I need to. There's a lot. I really want to lose those 40 pounds. So apparently all I have to do is read the book. Just legal disclaimer. That's not true. That's not really what's going on here.
Okay. Dude, I'm going to put that on the website, or maybe I'll do a re-release, and I'll just be like, guaranteed by at the Ruben Jay, you'll lose 40 pounds by reading this book.
And then you gotta make sure you gotta put the disclaimer in really small words, just really small print. This was just a bit on a podcast. It's not serious, because I don't want to be sued, and I don't want you to get sued. Dude, this was fun. This was definitely genuinely fun. I wish we had more time to chat and just keep going, but somebody hates having long episodes.
No worries. It's the attention span. We got to keep it short. We got to get in there, get out, and if you want to bring me on again, holla.
We would love to have you on again at some point.
We want you to be a permanent guest.
Please.
Damn. So you're talking best friend status. I don't know if I'm ready for that right now.
No. That's not what I mean whatsoever. But definitely, if you're in Los Angeles anytime soon, hit us up and we'll buy you some tacos. That's the least I can do.
Cool. Appreciate that.
I'm not going to be there next week.
I'm going to be there soon, but don't tell them.
All right, Woody, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. And again, remind them where they can buy the book.
For sure. My social media on Instagram at Woody Woodrow, which is the link right there or right here. There we go. And you can check me out on Facebook also by searching my name, Woody Woodrow. That's where I have like a You Are the Rockstar page. I share stuff from the book a lot. And I also have a separate Instagram account, You Are the Rockstar, that you can check out. I post stuff from the book and just self-reflective things from time to time. You can also check out my website, youaretherockstar.com, and go to Amazon to grab a copy of the Kindle, the paperback, or the Audible version of my book, which I narrate, which was a whole experience in its own self, which turned out really, really good. I'm super proud of it. So if you get a chance, go check it out. And also, if you know of anybody who could use my book, I am a huge advocate of just giving it to people. So if you know somebody, email me at woodywoodrowcontact@gmail.com. And if you know a friend that's like, hey, they could benefit from this book, just let me know. And like, maybe if they prefer the audiobook, I'll send them a download code. We'll just see, but just be like, hey, I got someone going through some stuff right now, and I think this would benefit them. And I would be happy to share that, because it's really not about the money for me. That's not why I did it. I did it because I want to make an impact that's beyond our existence on this earth.
So 2 notes to that. Number 1, don't listen to him. Click the link down below so that we get paid. Number 2, I need the book, so I'll send you my address later. Woody, thank you so much, man. We are going to go take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Moxy has some things to talk about. We'll be back in just a second.
Thank you, guys.
Wow, Moxy, that was an incredible interview. Welcome back to You're My Best Friend. What did you think about our conversation with Mr. Woody Woodrow?
Why are you saying it so weird?
Well, because the name on the book is different from the name that's on the profile.
Yeah, it's a nickname. You've heard of those.
I don't have any of those.
Ah, what about your middle name?
The one that you don't know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one. I was
Shit.
say no.
Let me just say I'm happy there's a cap on that.
So I was so excited to have Woody on the podcast. I honestly, I reached out to him just based on his Instagram. I've known of Our Last Night. I can't speak. I've known of Our Last Night
okay,
for
Joe.
quite a long time. Obviously, if you're in the rock world, you're going to know about Our Last Night. If not, from their incredible covers, from their insane original music and their sound. It's just phenomenal. And
I really like their sound.
I love their sound so much.
They are the right mix between pop, hard rock, and screamo.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the mixture they have. And honestly, an incredible band. This conversation has opened up my mind to different
I really want you to read this book. It's so good. And I kind of went through it to listen for notes and stuff. I listened to the audiobook version that you can find on Amazon. Okay, but it was great because I was able to take notes on it and write down questions to ask him at the same time. But I'm going to go through it again because it was so good. And for anybody who's looking at reframing their life, thinking about their goals differently, that actually wants to change things in their life, this book is for you. And it's really, really cool, especially if you're into the music scene, if you're into the rock scene at all, to hear it from somebody who's actually lived it. It's so good. And I've read a lot of books. I don't say that lightly.
You don't say that you read a lot of books lately?
No, I don't recommend a book like that lightly.
Gotcha.
Can I share a personal thing? I'm not trying to brag, but I got to work. I'm sorry. Rice cakes.
Do you want a water?
No. I got to work with a couple of years ago. I was in this choral group, and they got contracted. They got contracted. They got contracted. Yeah, they got contracted to work actually with Our Last Night for a short choral recording on a song that they did a couple of years ago on one of their albums. And so I actually got to work with those guys a couple of years ago, and knowing their way of working with people in the studio, the way they interacted with their producer and the way they interacted with us, we were just a bunch of kids, and they were so nice to us. And then like just seeing the way they act with each other, it was really inspiring. And so I am so glad that we got to talk with Woody and actually get inside his head, because like that is it's an incredible man. They're all incredible men, and it not only comes through in their music but in their lifestyles as well. So,
they all seem like really incredible people, and I have nothing but good things to say about Woody, and nothing but good things to say about this podcast, which again, you should be sharing with your friends. If you don't have any friends, then share it with strangers.
If you don't have any friends, we'll be your friends. We will be your best friends, except not Ruben, because he hates everyone.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think if you follow my personal Facebook page, which none of you guys should be, but if you're following my personal Facebook page, you would have seen that I came to terms this last week with something very important in my life. Did you remember this, Moxy?
Maybe refresh my memory.
Remember I sent it to you and I'm like, oh, I came to terms with this, that I fully accepted something in my life.
Maybe.
I've come to the realization that I am indeed an old man.
Oh yes, you did send that to me.
I'm a grumpy old man.
Yes,
to be exact.
Yes.
So I literally hate everybody and hate everything. So don't take it personally. But I love you guys, you people.
What about me?
No.
Thanks.
There's only one person in this world that I have love for right now.
Who?
You know. They see. Oh no.
Oh wow. So
that's not good. That's not good. By the way, somebody did send the salad on top.
What?
The salad on top?
Oh, I thought you said the cell on top.
No, the salad on top.
Salad.
Salad.
Maybe a salad. As is tradition. Wait, what?
Yeah, I ordered something and the salad was on top.
Like in a separate container?
No.
Yikes.
Apparently, that's the way it's done. It's like an upside down taco bowl.
That's weird.
But the salad was on top.
That's strange.
So I sent it back. And then they said, sir, this is how it's made. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Thank you.
As is apparently tradition, before we close out our episode for this week, I need to tell you this is episode.
I cut her off. They can't hear you. What? Oh, hold on. No, you're still muted.
53. This is episode 53.
I don't like your Spanish anymore.
I don't like your Spanish anymore.
Mi español estoy muy bueno. Muy bueno. Mucho taquitos y voy a tener mucho dinero muy rápido.
Why do we need taquitos?
Why not?
Why so many?
Why not?
Why so quickly?
So here's a funny thing. Here's a real quick funny thing. So my job now, I work with different things. So I had to go into a Mexican owned store. And
why is that funny?
No. So I go in and I go talk to the manager and I go, hey, my name is Ruben. Here's what I'm here to do. And he looks at me kind of like suspiciously, And then I go, mi nombre es Ruben. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, Ruben, ¿cómo estás? And he's like, we became best friends like the minute I started speaking Spanish. So I gotta get that Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone.
It's when I took my flight to Italy, it was kind of the same way.
$1 in the jar.
Got this grandmother named Maria sitting next to me on the flight, and she said something to me in Italian that I recognized, and I responded in Italian, and then she just started talking at me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I don't speak Italian, and she was like, oh, you look Italian, and I was like, well, I am, and she was like, where are you from? And I said, California.
That's funny. That's like that episode of Friends where Ross is trying to get that apartment for Rachel, and he comes down and goes, oh, I used to talk to, the lady in the elevator all the time. Oh, you speak Dutch. Oh, yeah. And then she speaks Dutch to him. He goes, it really hurts right now. I can't.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of You're My Best Friend, the podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. If you have not yet subscribed to our podcast, do so now. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, do so now. If you have not yet followed us on Facebook, do so now. And we also have a special secret group on Facebook called Life Friendship Tacos. So you better go find that group and join it right now.
Right now.
That was terrible.
Right now.
That was even worse.
Right now.
It's getting worse as it goes. And yeah, I think that's all the things I have to say to you right now. One last time, share this podcast
One
with
last time.
share this podcast with a friend.
Relax, have a drink with me one last time. And if we get this right, we're gonna
Teach them how to say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say you and I. My name is Ruben Jay.
And I'm Moxy Ann.
And we are out of time. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this game.
I don't. What game?
The game where you try to like match me. It's not fun.
This is not a game.
It's not fun.
It's not a game.
It's not fun.
You're not fun.
I know that.